That cover kind of looks like cotton candy. Or if you wanted to be depressing, it kind of looks like cancer cells. Or maybe cancerous cotton candy, which would be one of the worst things ever invented. But actually, maybe it's some cotton candy cells, yeah. That would kick ass, cotton candy cells. You'd just be growing cotton candy out of your body for the rest of your life. What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're an indie artist looking for an album review and some promo, you can hit up Luke at redmattersite.com. And what I have for you boys and girls today is an album review for Future's new album, DS2, or Dirty Sprite 2. Now, a lot of people have been on that Future wave lately, and if you're on Twitter, it almost seems like one giant troll job because people are talking about Future like he's the greatest rapper of all time. And it's mostly because of his 3 recent mixtapes, which have done really well. I'm talking about Beast Mode, Monster, and 56 Nights. Now, I don't think Future is the greatest rapper, that's for damn sure, but I like this album a lot more than I expected to. I've never been a big Future fan, but this album kind of confused me because I enjoyed it, but I understand now why I like it, so that's why I'm doing this review, and allow me to explain myself. First of all, anyone going into this album expecting bar fests and political content or insightful content even, you're going into this with the wrong state of mind. This is just all about that trap sound and vibe, as the majority of the content is all about sex, drugs, and trapping. And the production is handled by the trap legends Southside, Metro Boomin, Sunny Digital, and a couple other people as well, including Zaytoven. The album starts with the song I Thought It Was a Drought, and this song is pretty much a microcosm for the whole album. This song is what this whole album is all about. It has some bangin' trap production, and Future is on here rapping about codeine and pills. Not to mention that the very first line on this song is Future telling you that he fucked your bitch in Gucci flip-flops. So I'm sure Gucci flip-flops are going to see a rise in their sales. Another example of the typical trap Future sound happening on here comes on the song I Serve the Bass, where Future raps over the filthy and distorted Metro production about being on pills and being so full of chronic that he needs a detox. So if that's a reference to Dr. Dre, which it seems to be, I guess that detox is never coming. And while this sex, drugs, and trapping content runs rampant throughout this album and gets pretty redundant, Future can rip the flows when he wants to, cause I thought he absolutely tore it up on the Zaytoven-produced Colossal. At least on the first verse he did. And as far as autotune rappers go, which if you've been following my channel, you know I'm not really into that, I would rather listen to Future than I would Lil Wayne and Young Thug. I don't know what else to tell you. I just find his voice to be a little more tolerable than the screechy, crackly shit that Lil Wayne and Young Thug do. Now, as expected, Future does bring some questionable, corny, and funny lyrics on this album. Like on the track Stick Talk, where he says that he has no manners for the sluts, but will stick his thumb right in their butts. But I guess if they were into that, maybe that would be mannerly. Maybe some girls want a thumb in their butt. I don't know. There's also the track Slave Master, where Future makes use of that played out comparison of whips, cars, slaves. You see where I'm going with this? But it does have a great beat because it has some underlying strings and vocal synth underneath it that give it a really wavy feel. But one of the more questionable lines on this album comes on Groupies, where Future says that he uses the molly to get with girls, which obviously can be taken in a really rapey and creepy kind of way.
You see, Rudy, you put the roofie in the pudding pop to make a roof and pudding pop and you dumb.
Man, that was terrible. But you knew I was doing Cosby, so I guess that's good enough. I also thought the song Groupies was kind of funny though, because it's all about how Future isn't with Sierra anymore, and he's back to fucking his groupies. So I'd kind of like to see her face as she listened to this song. And speaking of Sierra, it's too bad about Russell Wilson. He could be hitting that, but God told him not to. What kind of God is that? Another line I found funny comes on the song Rotation, where Future says that he's so paranoid he has sex with his pants on and his pistol in his pocket, which just seems like a really bad idea, because if that shit went off, you would be in some trouble. And another line that made me smirk is on the song Trap Niggas, when he says when you wake up in the morning, grab your strap first before you brush your teeth. Dentists of America are just pissed off over this line. And one more funny line that I can mention, although there's a whole bunch throughout this album, is on Real Sisters, where Future goes out of his way to make sure everybody knows that he will have sex with girls if they're real sisters, and especially if they're twin sisters. He doesn't care. That doesn't bother him. But just like the majority of all the songs on this album, these 3 tracks are still certified bangers in spite of the goofy lyrics. So to wrap this review up, if people absolutely trash this album, I would completely understand it and there wouldn't really be too much of a way for me to defend it. But if people love this album, I completely understand, and I'm actually kind of with you. I don't really love it, and this isn't going to make my top 10 of 2015, but I like it for what it is. And this album is the perfect example of the type of album I have to listen to in the car before I review it. Because this isn't some of that lay back with your headphones on and study it type of shit. This is some of that crank it up in the car, go driving, and feel that late night vibe type of shit. So I have this album at a 3.5 out of 5. And the main thing that hurts it, obviously, is how the similar production and basic typical content gets old pretty damn fast and is a little bit redundant. But that also kind of works in its favor, because this is a very cohesive album that you could just turn up at a party and let it ride all the way out. Or turn it up in your car as you're just driving around in the late night. I also think that this album is way better than his album Honest, because on that one he was experimenting a bit too much and he also had way too many features. Whereas on this, Dirty Sprite 2, he only had one feature, and that was Drake on the song Where Ya At. I actually really liked that one a lot because it had some bass and bells production from Metro Boomin. And I like that line where Drake says if the neighbors complain about the noise, he's just gonna buy their house, because that's some damn good money to have. Really though, in the end, Future kept it simple with this one, and he stuck to the script. So I think Future fans will enjoy this, but if you hate Future, I doubt you're going to enjoy this. I mean, I never really hated Future, I just wasn't a big fan of him, but I think this is one of the best projects that I've heard from him, so it's cool for what it is, and I think I'll bump this in my car sometimes. But that's just what I thought about this album. As usual, hit me up in the comments section to let me know what you think, and do all that good YouTube and social media stuff, where you like my videos, you share them, you follow me on Twitter, you retweet the videos, and you especially subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.